Yes, Suresh, I think I can start.
Yes, ma'am.
A very good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you all to the webinar on Entrepreneurial Thought Leadership on behalf of IQAC, Department of Business Administration, Innovation and ED Cell of our college. I would like to inform you all that you can post your questions in chat box during the question and answer session, which will be held at the end of the webinar. And I would like to request you all to fill the feedback form which will be posted in chat box at the end of the session to receive your e-certificates. Thank you. It is true that a prayer that comes from the heart can move mountains. It increases your faith and brings you closer to God. Now I welcome our college choir for the prayer song. Thank you, choir. To be inspired is great, but to inspire is an honor. With this wonderful quote, I would like to call upon our Head Department of Business Administration, Mr. R.J. Vignesh Kumar, sir, to give the welcome address and introduce the guests to the gathering.
Thank you, Ikara. Good evening, all. This is Vignesh Kumar, Head Department of Business Administration and IIC Convener, Untitled Chapter College. On behalf of our college, I welcome our Chairman, Chevalier N.R. Dhanabalan sir, our young and energetic Secretary, Lion N.R.D. Prem Kumar sir, our dynamic Joint Secretary, Lion Dr. P.E.R. Premchand sir, our beloved Principal Ma'am, Dr. Kamala Balakrishnan, our beloved Principal, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Mrs. Jafia Solomon Ma'am. Also extend my warm welcome to our Chief Guest, Dr. P.S. Manjula Ma'am. I also extend my warm welcome to heads of various departments, staff members, and the participants who have joined this live webinar, Entrepreneurial Thoughts Leadership. Today, our guest, Dr. P.S. Manjula Ma'am, is currently working as a faculty in Department of Management Studies, University of Madras, and she has more than 2 decades of experience in teaching and research of management education. She did a PhD from Department of Management Studies, University of Madras, and also an UGC Project Fellow for UGC Major Project at University of Madras. Dr. Manjula Ma'am also has been mentoring students on their entrepreneurial journey and also the faculty coordinator for the Entrepreneurship Development Cell called EDGE in the Department of Management Studies, University of Madras. She is also the convener for the Entrepreneurship and Career Initiative of University of Madras under RUSA, a scheme of UGC. During this pandemic time, she has conducted more than 40 programs in which more than 4,000 students have participated and got benefited. She has been bestowed with several awards in the past, including the Best Thesis Award and a cash prize of rupees 10,000 for her PhD thesis. She received a Best Researcher Award for 2017 in Teachers' Day celebration from the University of Madras for her excellent contribution in research. In 2018, she was awarded an Outstanding Woman in Management by the Center for Research and Design for her research contribution in the fields of organizational behavior. She is a resource person for orientation program and refresher program conducted by UGC Human Resource Center, University of Madras. She has so far conducted over 100 workshops and training programs as a trainer. Through her training programs, Dr. Manjula has been able to connect with and train more than 6,000 teachers. Once again, I welcome you, ma'am. Ma'am, now the section is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Yunesh, and thank you, Dr. Kamala, madam, for extending an invitation to me and for allowing me to be a part of this beautiful journey of yours. I say a journey because every entrepreneur, when he or she sets out, it's a journey for them. It's a life-changing experience for them. And as teachers and as facilitators, when we enable them to do so, it's definitely a remarkable journey for us as well. So I'm so glad that the Anna Violet College has been into the path of initiating many such entrepreneurs. And I really wish you all success for all that you have been doing. So once again, thank you for the invitation. Now, if I'm allowed to share my screen, can I?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Is my PPT visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Today, we are going to talk about the entrepreneurial thought leadership. Now, why do we say leadership? Because every entrepreneur, when they set out to the journey of setting up a startup of their own, a business of their own, small or big, as I told you, it needs the person to be sorted in their goals. They need to have a mission, a vision for their organization, have certain value sets for themselves, and also take responsibility for leading that organization, to be the face of that organization. Whenever we talk about any business, whether it is the Tatas, the Reliance, the Facebook, the Google, the moment we talk about that business, immediately there is a face that we recognize. There is a face which starts coming into our mind, and that perhaps will be the face of the founder or the person who is leading that enterprise today. It is the value system that the entrepreneur puts in place that goes on to become the corporate value that organization stands for. When we say Tatas today, there is a certain value system that we associate with that organization, and it should have been the founding principles and the founder's values which the organization imbibes. And that's why perhaps I thought that it makes sense for me to address you all on the entrepreneurial thought leadership, wishing that each one of you who is listening to this session today and is part of this great initiative of Anna Violet College goes on to become an entrepreneurial leader. Much has been talked about entrepreneurship, startup organizations. We have the government giving so much thrust to the entrepreneurship these days. If you look at the government of India's policy today, we have seen that gone are the days when they thought that business enterprise policies were in a silo, and then we had the educational policy. Today, there is a lot of impetus which is given on the education system promoting entrepreneurial journey of its students. Let us understand that it is this thrust in the education system which gave the United States of America and countries which have benefited of this entrepreneurial wave that have gone on to become economic superpowers. Better late than never. At least now we have in place a lot of policies, whether it is Startup India initiative, whether it is the Atmanirbhar, or whether it is a Make in India campaign, all focusing on trying to tap the inherent potential of our youngsters. India for certainly has its demographic dividend in place. And when I say demographic dividend, it means that today we have a country which is very young and a very able workforce. I'm so glad once again that the Anna Violet College has thought of promoting entrepreneurial journey and having a session like this in place, not only for its entrepreneurial focus, but also that we know that we are trading to very difficult times of the pandemic. And the education sector is one sector which has very quickly adapted to the online platform. Change and distress are something which every entrepreneur and business has to endeavor. Even the education sector has not been immune to the present pandemic situation. But what if we had all thought that everything is going to come to a standstill? I'm so glad that the teaching community was one of the first few who realized the potential of technological platform and moved on very swiftly, trying to learn. I remember during the initial lockdown, the first lockdown period, how many FDPs were there. I myself did a lot of programs for teaching community because the teachers were eager to learn newer frontiers, test newer technologies with only one mantra, that the classroom teaching or the teaching should not stop. So whenever you have that kind of a mindset, nothing can stop us. Virtually nothing, not even the pandemic. And I'm so glad that these sessions help the teaching community to stay connected and spread that positivity, help us to be away from the negativity that is spread all around us in the media, and instill in us the hope, the resilience that we can fight everything and we can come back. There are changes that I'm talking about even in the education field. If somebody thought that it was the infrastructure of the buildings, the laboratory and the library, the physical library that we have, which made the institutions today, that has been challenged. The very thought that these have become very insignificant can make us rather wonder that how things have changed in a jiffy. Yes, today we realize that more than these, it is actually the soft infrastructure of the students, the teachers, and the technology, which has become so inevitable, and we cannot but ignore it. A teacher who is swift to learn all these technologies and move on to the online platform and use it effectively is the one who is here to rule the roost. Entrepreneurial education is much the same. Gone are the days when we thought that the mere teaching of models, theories, doing some problems, practicing some experiments in the lab is all that education had to offer. We realize today that entrepreneurial education is as much a need of the hour as is any other theory class. Today, we have seen that all the universities are invariably getting one course in their subjects, whether it is the arts, the commerce, or the science, and that is entrepreneurship. Because nobody knows when a student may feel that he or she is ready to become an entrepreneur. It need not necessarily be immediate effect, but somewhere when we sow the seed today, perhaps it will take its own period of incubation, and that incubation period can be different for different students. One can even become an entrepreneur at 40 plus. But however, we are here to sow the seed today and let it go through that nurturing and the incubation period. Entrepreneurial education, I say, is a must because entrepreneurial skills are skill sets that can be learned. When I say learned, I have Peter F. Drucker, who is a management guru and who says most of what you'll hear about entrepreneurship is all wrong. It's not magic. It's not mysterious. And it has nothing to do with genes. It's a discipline. And like any discipline, it can be learned. So that's perhaps the good news for all of us, that entrepreneurial education is something that we can learn. These are skill sets which can be nurtured. These are skill sets which we can perhaps get to collect and we can acquire over a period of time if trained properly. And that is why the relevance of these kind of seminars or webinars and sessions become important, so that we get the students to start thinking seriously about entrepreneurial journey. Now, having said that, the first thing that perhaps I should be talking about is, as an entrepreneur, what are the different tasks that one will be doing? The first and the foremost is whether you have a new idea, an innovative idea, an idea which has a potential to be saleable, for which people will be willing to pay money, and which has a potential in the market. If you have an idea like that, then I think you are set to go. But that is the most difficult thing, finding the right idea. Now you look at all those business enterprises which have grown in the recent past. Imagine even the Facebook, who's got such a big business today. He only sells relationships and the need to be connected with fellow human beings. The inquisitiveness in us to know about what the other person is doing. And it is only that which led to the Facebook. And if somebody thought that that can be a business venture, then hats off to them, because they really believed that there was a business model there. You look at the Swiggy, the Zomato, who are the deliverers of our food at home, or the Big Basket, which all are convenience services which is offering you some convenience. So are you having something like that in your mind? Imagine the potential of even the packaging industry. Tetra Packs. Before the Tetra Packs came, how was the liquids being delivered? They were perhaps delivered in bottles or cans. Till the Tetra Pak technology came, and we have today virtually all type of juices and milk and everything which is sold in Tetra Packs. So Tetra Pak is a packaging revolution. There is a business model in that. The Ola, which became as your Ola cabs. Today, Ola is thinking of making its own electric vehicles. And already in Krishnagiri, they have started building their plant. And the plant is such a huge project of more than 1,500 crores of money is being invested. Now, did you ever imagine that Bhavesh, who is the CEO of Ola, could go on to make such a big business? Now, imagine he did not stay with Ola cabs. He is venturing into the next product, which is electric vehicles, because he sees there is a market there. So you may actually start small, but you have to have a leader's vision to grow your business, to scale up your efforts. So much of my presentation today is going to focus on this area of finding new ideas. How do you look at ideas? What are those things that may help a person to come up with ideas? So the 7 pillars of ideation, that's what I would call it. The second is to look for resources. Okay, I have an idea, but is the idea enough? I just love the idea to be there. Is it good enough for me to go ahead? Perhaps no. I need to find out all those resources. And when I say resources, resources needed for manufacturing my product, where will I manufacture my product, to who will finance my project, to how is it that I'm going to make it deliverable. All these things are pulling resources. I need to have people, finding the right people to work for me. There's also a resource. So men, materials, money, machines, all these are resources that I need. Now, how will I bring them all together, collective, to one umbrella? Again, that is where an entrepreneurial task lies. And that's a Herculean task. Being competitive with ideas, markets, and products. I have idea, but identifying the right market and bringing it as a product. Now, I remember there was one student who was talking about making an UV light, so an UV light of kind of thing for killing viruses. Now, they have the technology of, they know what lights to use, which will kill the virus in a room at a room temperature. And that's the product has got such a utility now, because in the present scenario, that is the challenge that we are having, right? To identify those viruses and kill those viruses in the room temperature. But when we ask them about how will your product look, how will you bundle it up as a product and make it deliverable, then they have no answers for that. So perhaps how will you have a technology, right? But how are you going to make it as a product? And then, because you have, as a consumer, I need to feel, touch, and I'm going to pay my money for the product. So that feel of the product is very, very necessary. The convenience of the product is very, very necessary. So these are things that one has to think about. Then, of course, the marketing and the selling skills. But of all these things, again, there's one more area which is very important. That is the networking and the social skills. We today say that the network of a person is or her net worth. So if you are a businessman or a businesswoman, then it is even more critical that you learn to network and use your skills. Initially, when a person is starting off, the college may provide a very good incubation centers are there. Then it is a platform for them to start off. Sometimes going for competitions helps. So these are all places where you can actually start your visibility as in the entrepreneurial journey. Trying to move my screen. So as I told you, much of my presentation is going to be focused on the first part that I put, that is idea. They say that one idea can change your life. And if you have the right idea and at the right time, then perhaps it's time to test it, to test the waters for whatever it is. Because when you are young, you have all the liberty to try. There is something called the new product development funnel. And whenever a person is developing a new product, generally it passes through several stages. One of the stages is, early stage is the product's concept, but it's only an idea stage. So we call that as a concept. Then you look at whether this concept is viable. So we call it as a concept testing stage. Then comes the actual design and the engineering of the product. Then you make the prototype. If you see the number of circles, which is the number of ideas, where do you find the ideas to be more? Obviously, in the larger part of the funnel, that is in the product concept development stage. And it is so with a reason. Why? Because as you move down these the funnel, that is from the product concept development to the testing, the design, and the prototyping, you will find that there is considerable amount of money which is spent at each stage. So if you actually fail somewhere down, it actually costs much. But at this stage, the initial stage, there is not much cost involved. So one can look for as many ideas as possible. There is no problem in trying to test with different ideas. So I call this as the 7 pillars to ideation. And what are the 7 pillars to ideation? How do I go about looking for an idea? Can you see my title of the screen, or is it not visible?
It's visible, ma'am. I have a mission that matters.
Yeah. Now, if it is here, now it's visible.
Yes, ma'am. It's visible, ma'am.
Okay. So, because I have my all these icons here, so I was just wondering if the visibility is.
It's there, ma'am. It's there, ma'am. Have a mission that matters there.
Yeah. So, as I told you in the beginning itself, first, if you are a person looking to build a business of your own, you need to have a mission that matters. When I say a mission, it should be a workable, a feasible, but yet it should be something which is really, big enough, and it should not sort of put you in a very smaller sphere. Now let us have. I'm sure that you all recognize this symbol, and this is the symbol of the Starbucks. Now, when Starbucks started its business, look at the beautiful mission that they put up. They said that they would like to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. They never said that we are here to sell coffee. That would have been an easy thing for them to say, or probably they would have said that we are here to entertain people with a cup of different flavors of coffee or something. But they said they are here to nurture the human spirit. And when they said that they are here to nurture the human spirit, because Starbucks actually opened its cafeterias for the young college-going students who wanted a space to sit down and chat, have informal discussions with their friends. So the cafeteria space was opened up. They could come there, they could sit there, they could order a coffee. Even without ordering enough coffee also, they could sit there and they could chat for hours, and nobody would ask them to leave the place. Now, it is that informal setting that they gave for people to connect. And it was that, the happiness that it brought by connecting with people that popularized the Starbucks. And they did not say that we are going to sell in this locality. They said we are going to start with one neighborhood at a time. So they were looking for expansion. And that is the reason why they were able to build a very big and a very worthy of network of their chain of restaurants or their chain of outlets. So the second one that I put here is of this gentleman who owns the Oyo. And Ritesh Agrawal, if you see, he started very young. But he also, when he started his Oyo brand of hotel chains, what did he invest in? He hardly had any money. He was a very young boy with only 5 lakh of rupees, which he had as pocket money or something. And he wanted to start a hotel chain. Now, how did he go about doing it? He actually looked at an area which most of the people were losing out. Now, if you see the hotel chains, how much does a company or an organization or a person invest in building a hotel? If it is a 5-star or a 7-star hotels, then you have to spend more than 100 crores on building the infrastructure. So a lesser facility of a 3 or 5-star hotel, maybe one spends around 50 crores rupees is spent. If it is much lesser than that, probably at least 10 crores, or if it's even a smaller one, then you are spending not less than 2 or 3 crores. Now here is and look at the beds or the occupancy of these hotels. Not most of them are occupied. So somebody has already invested money in building the infrastructure, and that infrastructure is lying vacant without customers. So he saw a gap there and he thought, why can't I help them get the customers? So he went to these small hotels in UP and he told them, what I can do is I can get you the customers. Will you be ready to tie up with me? What do you think would have been the reaction of the hotelier? He said, why should I engage you? It's my hotel. Whatever profit I'm getting is mine. Why should I share it with you? So then he said, if you are getting a customer, then part of it you give me. If you don't get a customer, you don't have to give me anything. If the customer is coming through me, then you share. It's like any local area will have the local tourist guide, the cab driver who will lead you to a hotel and he gets some tips or he gets some commission for taking you to a hotel. So the hotelier thought it's a win-win situation for both of us. So let me now take him. So what he did is he took, say, 5 lakh rupees. He went to the local market. He brought linen, the curtains. So he did the soft furnishing of the hotel. The hard furnishing he did not touch because the hotel already had that. Only the soft furnishing, because when a customer goes to a hotel, what is that he looks for? The bed should be neat. There should be that the toilet should be good and clean. So these are facilities that they look for. There should be hot water facility, etc. So he thought that I am going to tap to this middle class people and the lower middle class people who want quality service, repeated quality service, consistent quality service at affordable cost. At affordable cost. And for that, he had to do very minimal investments because already the infrastructure is in place. Then he invested in technology because the technology gives him the edge of meeting more people, or he can have more people looking at the advertisements which are being floated on the OYO. And that is how his model took out. So he wanted to be in more destinations, very easy and affordable. Now, already the space is there, built up space is there, infrastructure is there, with little soft furnishing, and by providing and promising quality, consistent service, he thought that he can capture and he can actually make a new market. And that's exactly what he did. He even had a very good team of people who will go for inspection to these hotels. So every 5 hotels or 7 hotels, he put one supervisor from the OYO. He has a very big list of inventory and a very big list of audit, which he will take with him. And then when he will tick, he said that, okay, if there is room number 301, if the AC is working, tick. Lights are working, tick. Fan is not working, cross. That means if there is some facility which is not available in a room, then OYO will say that this room cannot be put up for rent or sale on the platform. So that kind of stringent audit to ensure quality was done. Now remember that whenever you have a business idea or a business plan, you are looking for a long-term returns. So initially you may have to spend some time building that customer base, and trust becomes a very, very key element and a very key ingredient. Once you have built that trust, then you can keep those customers, because and now it's even more difficult because customer loyalty, how much loyal will they be? How long will they stay with you? They're all things which are so dynamic, but still there is always scope for trying things which are new and which are practical and which has some relevance to the problems that can be solved. Now, I remember there was one very simple innovation which was done by students. So today we have a lot of students and startups coming from the colleges. One such was a group of students who came up with a solution for the old age people. So what is one of the problems that the old age people have is they have to put some eye drops and they need the assistance from somebody to put the eye drops. So here they came up with a very simple equipment, very simple solution, which will help or assist the elderly people to put their own eye drop. It's a very simple problem, but they found a solution for that. And that becomes a product then. So idea for a problem that you can solve. There is a problem. You find out that this is a problem. This problem, people want a solution. Then you find and give them a solution for that through a product or a service. Look at today what is happening in and around us. We want so many medical products or medicines to be delivered. All these online apps of medical services, whether it is pharmacy or any other, they have all caught up so well because they were available at the right time. Now, when people are afraid of going outside their house, they want to use as many apps as possible to get their services done sitting on the comfort of their homes. And that is what I say, being at the right time is also very, very critical. Your right product at the right time, targeting the right people for the right cost. Trying to move my slide. So what one should be thinking is strive for continual innovation and not instant perfection. So if you think that I am going to build the right product and only when I have the best product in my hand, a complete product which is going to be not of any flaws, then I am going to come to the market. That day will never come. When you have a product, initially the best thing is to try it with a small circle. First, among your friends, your relatives, your neighborhood. That is how perhaps people start. Then, once you have the feedback from them, then you rectify. But you have to at least start somewhere. Look at a company like Amazon. Amazon has come a full circle from where it began. Initially, when they began, they were not so successful. Even in the Indian market, they really failed. Why? Because they started with selling the books online. The books online, they were not able to support it with the correct logistics. Suppose I order a book and the book takes 15 days for it to reach me. And if the same book I can get from the Higginbothams in the next day, then that no, it's not worthy of waiting for so long, right? So people thought that no, it was not so great and it really did not pick up the way that they wanted. But then they learned the lessons from their flaws and they were quick to respond. And today, even their logo has changed and they say from A to Z, they deliver anything. So they didn't stop with just the books. There is so much that Amazon learned. And it is this learning that is very necessary and very essential for entrepreneurial thought process. The next picture that you see nearby, if there are any guesses, you can put it in the chat box. I'll be only happy to read it later. If there are any guesses on what machine is that. When I've asked people before, there are so many answers that I got, but never the right answer. People tell me that it looks like a printing machine. It's probably the early version of the Xeroxing machine, or it is a sugarcane crusher, and all that I have heard. But not anybody never told me that it is a washing machine. In fact, this is a washing machine. It's the earliest version of a washing machine. How a washing machine looked years back in its primitive ways. Now, if you had thought that a washing machine only in its present form should have come to the market, then we would have been still waiting for the perfect washing machine to come, right? That is what I say. Never wait for perfection or instant perfection. There is always scope for continuous improvement. So your market, if when you see is ready for a product, it's the best thing to go for it. Now, if I say this, probably I should also show you one of the latest when it comes to I wanted to see this latest washing machine, which is artificial intelligence enabled washing machine. So what if the companies had thought that only when they had the perfect technology and the best prototype in place, then they would have come to the market. That was also washing machine. This is also washing machine.
Do you know how much time you spend doing the laundry at home? I mean, of course, it depends on if you're a single household or maybe a family, but it's actually possible to save some time. What would you do with some extra time?
I think I would sleep in every single day.
And we will make that possible. So please have a look at this. This is our sustainable maintainer. It's perfectly integrated. And as far as I know, you've been to a party yesterday and there's one shirt. Well, this one, I think we should just wash it. All you have to do is to put it in the closet, then you close it. And then the next step, your laundry will be picked up. It will be analyzed so that you know the exact material. The label will be identified and it's connected to a manufacturer's database, so you know exactly what kind of item it is, and it will also see how dirty it is.
The next step is it will determine how dirty the item is, as Julia has already said, and then it will spray the optimal amount of detergent from a nozzle directly onto the dirty area.
Okay, so once again, it's really easy. You will always have the optimal setting. You don't have to think about the kind of detergent and the concentration any longer. It will all be done automatically. In the next step, it will be cleaned. In a further step, after it will be suction dried, because you don't want to iron the clothes any longer. It will all be done with just the sustainable maintainer. And finally, it will be picked up once again, folded, and it will be stored in its proper place. Et voila! What do you think about it?
That's perfect. I mean, it does everything automatically, from washing the clothes to drying to folding to put them back into the cupboard.
So that's what I say, that there is scope for continuous improvement. It is not instantaneous perfection that one should look for. Now, coming to the next one, you can always start small, but think big. I'm sure that this picture should be something that you are all familiar with. Most of your houses may be having one, and that is a syntax tank. Can anybody make a wild guess of where did they start using the syntax tank, or where was syntax tank initially being used, or what was its initial purpose? It was used to store synthetic material, chemicals in the textile industry. That was the initial purpose of this tank, and that is why it's called a syntax, synthetic textile chemicals, where it's stored in these tanks. But then if the company had continued to do what it was selling, the purpose for which they had started, then they would not have seen the kind of growth that they have seen now. Because they saw that in the constructions or in every building, there was a need for having a water storage unit. And that water storage unit was being built with concrete materials in the past. And there were issues of the fungal formations, and the cleaning was a little difficult. Having realized that, and having seen that every household needs a tank or water tank storage facility, the Syntex slowly moved from their initial synthetic material storage container to water storage. And then the rest is history. How they were able to virtually capture the market is something that was so much for everybody to learn from. So that's what I say. Start small, but think big. So your eyes should always be there for seeing whether your idea has some other application. Can it be used elsewhere? Is the market ready? How is the market evolving? Is there some change that is happening around me? These are all inputs for entrepreneurs. You can look for ideas everywhere. That is another key. When I say look for ideas everywhere, where do the ideas come from? Anything that our brain can conceive and our mind thinks is possible is possible. If man thought that man could fly, then it is possible. If man thought that they can make machines to do their work, then it's possible. If man thought that they can generate a different life, that is possible today with cloning. If man thought that they can beat the speed of the best animal, that is possible. We have seen bullet trains. So any idea that the brain can conceive can be made possible. But where do these ideas come from? These ideas are everywhere around us. There is a scientist who gets inspired by looking at a lotus leaf. Now, why a lotus leaf? Because the lotus leaf has this peculiar characteristic that any water droplet on it will not get accumulated on its surface. So it will be water resistant. So that is something that people get inspiration from. So the inspiration for ideas can lie anywhere. This factory that you see was one of those ideas that Ford, who was the founder for the Ford Motors, he got the idea of making mass assembly lines. Mass production, moving assembly lines was formed in his company first in the early 1900s, when he went to a Chicago meat factory. And in the meat factory, he saw that the slaughtering unit was taking the meat, and then it was cutting it onto different pieces, and then it was disassembling the meat. So when he saw that, he thought, why is it not possible for my company to do the reverse? When I say the reverse, why can't I join parts to make a whole product? And that is how the moving assembly line, the first mass production initiative, was started. And that revolutionized the automobile industry. Till then, one automobile was costing for production. Probably they were taking 3 weeks or so. And this moving assembly line changed the entire thing. And within 96 minutes, he was able to make one automobile roll out from his factory. Today, we know that it takes less than 3 minutes for one a car or a locomotive to roll out from a factory. So that kind of revolution in process is also possible, but the idea can come from anywhere. In fact, he got his inspiration for making his automobile, for creating his design of the cars. When he looked at the trains, then you may ask me that how can train inspire manufacturing of car? He thought that why is it only that people should grow only in large groups from one place to other? Why can't I travel as a small family from one place to other? And why is it that I have to go only on a track? Can't I go by using the small roads? And can I not go to the countryside? Because traveling to countryside was not so easy till then. So he made travel to countryside possible. So ideas can come from anywhere. You have to only look for those ideas. While you spark with imagination, you have to fuel it with data. Today, we know that you have all the data at your fingertips. It is possible to collect the data and also learn to analyze the data. When a lot of people have very good ideas to start their business, one homework that they do not do is what is the market potential for my product? Who will be the right people for buying my product? So a little bit of marketing research is needed to identify that these are the right people to whom I can sell this product. And how do I do that? For that, perhaps I have to have a little understanding of the data. It's like Netflix. I'm sure all of you as youngsters would have heard of Netflix, and you would have used Netflix also for watching movies. One of the earliest things that they did is they heavily invested on collecting data on the viewership of their the people, the profiling of the people who were watching the movies. What did that help them in? In fact, all this was collected, and later on, they had so much of information that they were able to profile their users pretty much correctly. In fact, there is a very famous series by name House of Cards, and when its British version was made into the US version, then he brought the rights for this for a pretty hefty money. And a lot of people actually doubted that why are they investing so much money, and whether there was so much of profit going to be there in this series. But actually Netflix was doing it because they had the exact data about the people who like to watch the director David Fincher's movies, and also Kevin Spacey, who was the hero of that particular series. So they knew that the exact viewership that this will be able to amass. And it is with that they were able to come out with the kind of money that they will be able to invest. So investing in data, understanding data, though you can be fueled by your imagination, or you can have the spark of your imagination, but let your moves be guided by data. Only that would be the right approach. Then perhaps never fail to fail. They always say, that failure is a stepping stone to success, and it is very true. If you see at the left side, you can see a zoo, and that is the San Diego Zoo, which is a very famous zoo in the US. It is more than 100 years old, and you see the founder of YouTube there in the photograph. Now, why is this photograph very significant? Because it was the first photograph that he had taken and posted on YouTube. And when he posted this his personal picture on YouTube, he never thought that YouTube will go on to become such a big entity. It would become such a big model. It would become such a big business. Because initially the viewership was very, very low. Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, which is better known, the person tasted his success much into his later part of his life. Initially, he was not so successful, but you never know when success will come to your business venture. Walt Disney, when he came up with his proposal of having the Disneyland, that where people can have fun just like kids. And when he took his proposal to not less than 100 banks, all the banks rejected his proposal. They said that they did not find anything, this proposal working. He had to convince the banks. But imagine if it was you and me, what we would have done. At the first bank is rejecting a proposal, you become disheartened. 10 banks reject, that's all. You feel that you stop believing in your proposal anymore. You feel that, okay, whatever the banks are saying is right. Perhaps there is no business here. But he was not like you and me. I have my electric power here, so I'm going to switch off my video. Is it okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So he says, and Walt Disney says, all the adversity I have had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me, and you may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you, because that makes you feel and see. It sends you to reevaluate your business and your plans. Always learn to question assumptions. When I say question assumptions, whatever you are seeing around you may have been in practice for long, but that does not mean that you stop questioning. For instance, you see this person who is cycling, right? It's a very common thing that we would all have seen in our gyms, or maybe some of you even have it at your home. But if the idea is to just give some exercise to your leg muscles, and to your stomach muscles, lower abdomen muscles, then there is no need for the seat, for this handle, all that can be done away. A mere pedaling is enough for you to do that. A mere pedaling is enough, right? So unless otherwise you question your assumption, then you are not going to get it correct, right? So there is a new product coming up, developed, because somebody questioned that assumption. If anybody recognizes this half ball, because in the gym you would have seen the full exercise ball, but this is called as a hemispherical ball, which is called as a buzzer ball. Again, here the very notion that for doing an exercise, the entire ball is necessary was negated by a person called as David. And he thought that why should I have the full ball? So he cut the cost by half by cutting the ball into half. And the buzzer balls are known to be equally effective. Of course, he had to popularize his new findings with some good and very effective marketing, and that helped him to be successful. And this buzzer ball has sold in millions of dollars worldwide. So sometimes one needs to question the assumptions that are there. If somebody thought that entrepreneurial skills are only for people who want to become entrepreneurs, then that is also wrong. Because sometimes when you are working in organizations, you have to have risk-taking ability, you have to be good in communication, you have to have leadership qualities, you should be able to take initiative, you have to be proactive, you have to be creative. Now, are these only meant for people who want to start their own business? No. That is where the term corporate entrepreneurship comes, or we call that as intrapreneurs. This is Dr. Roy Plunkett, who worked in a company called as in the DuPont. And while working in the DuPont, and when he was working on a chemical called as the tetrafluorocarbons, he chanced upon the material called as Teflon. And where is Teflon being used today? It is invariably used in so many things. We have Teflon coated cookware, we have Teflon coated electric products, we have Teflon coated materials, etc. So it is not necessary that the entrepreneurial thought process is only for entrepreneurs. Even if you're working in a corporate setup, one can know, one can learn. So where is the role of the curriculum here? Unfortunately, in our curriculum, we learn some theory, we learn certain concepts, but there is a disconnect in application. I know I learned how to write a program, but can I convert it into an application, into a mobile app? So it is that turning of my conceptual learning into an application-oriented learning, that is what each of you as students must see. If I am a chemistry student, is there a scope for using my chemistry knowledge in the industry? Somewhere that can be used and sold as a business, as a product. As teachers, of course, teachers also have a great role to play. Like the program we are doing today is to create an awareness. We also need to have some basic business skills to run small businesses. Like we should teach people how to do their account statement, how to do the billing, how to work on a tally package, how to file the GST, how to register a company. These are small things that people need to know. And also advanced business skills as they grow in their business. Of course, the social skills is an inevitable part, like leadership skills, communication skills, networking. They're all things that teachers need to focus through activities. So inculcate a flair for entrepreneurship, fostering creativity, Innovation through research and projects. That is why projects become important. Action-oriented learning, building confidence in the students and giving them opportunities to work as team and learn the art of working as a team. Where is the role of the administration? In Kerala, they have this initiative called as Startup Village, where they promote the startup culture among the students, and they've also come up with startup policy. So the government needs to come up with startup policy. Now, of course, all the governments have started bringing up their own policies, having policies for these schools, colleges, and other enterprises. Higher education, business incubation for entrepreneurship, vocational education and training, content and learning methods, teaching entrepreneurship, school for of entrepreneurship, encourage students-led entrepreneurial activities on campuses. A lot of foreign universities are actually already doing all these things. So it is time that India also joins the bandwagon and we promote entrepreneurial system, training, and methods in our schools and colleges. So we need to build synergy between all the three, in especially the vocational educational training, where we teach our students skills and competencies, teach them to be innovative. We help them in creating new horizons and opportunities for creating wealth and employment through their business ideas, products, and processes. So here you can see that the integrated model for fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in higher education, it is not just enough for the faculty to give some training, but it is important that we teach our students how to protect those ideas also through patenting and licensing. So if you have a new idea, there should be, and which is promising scope is there for it. And if it is something unique and innovative, then we have to protect those by patenting and licensing. So we can see that the entrepreneurial ecosystem has all the stakeholders, including government, the academic institutions, and the business enterprises. So what does that one has to do? Funding and support can be provided by the governments. The change of the role of academic institutions in promoting entrepreneurial education. There has to be importance on outreach program. That is, there should be enough opportunity for the academia to get in touch with the business community so that we learn the nitty-gritty of business. And most importantly, the multi-stakeholder partnerships need to be encouraged. As a closing slide, I would like to tell you that it is not necessary that we should only look at the Mark Zuckerbergs and the foreign grown entrepreneurs. Girish Matrabudam is from the University of Madras. He has been a startup from Chennai, a person from Chennai, from my own department, who went on to become the founder and CEO of Freshworks. So I just want you to think that if you have a dream, the dream will definitely come true. You can become a part of those successful entrepreneurs from India, provided you want to dream, to walk your dream and think of making it big. These, I'm just sharing some of my references. Thank you one and all for listening to me. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to take it. Go ahead, believe in your dreams and unleash the entrepreneur within. Thank you. Sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session. Now let's move on to the question answer section. I would like to invite Ms. Manisha, ma'am, faculty of business administration for question answer section. Ma'am.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, we have few questions from our students, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So the first question is that, is there any institutions which helps support funding the entrepreneurship development cell for colleges?
In fact, there are a lot of such initiatives. Even the University of Madras has started its own entrepreneurship and career hub. Like that, there are incubation centers, technology business incubation centers in the colleges. These are providing seed funding to the incubators and to startups. There is also the government's Mudra scheme for loans. Similarly, the EDI, the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of the state government, also provides incubation support, seed funding support. If you are in specific areas like biotechnology, there are again seed funding like BIRAC offers for biotechnology. So like that, there are ample opportunities available today, unlike what it was there 5 or 10 years back. Today, there are galore of opportunities.
Thank you, ma'am. We are going to the next question. According to you, what are the key factors to be a successful entrepreneur, ma'am?
Hard work never fails. Smart work is another key. It is today you have to be smart enough to as I told you, identifying an opportunity and being at the right time. These are two critical factors. I know certain companies who started the Swiggy and Zomato effort kind of thing. Like there's a company called Yo Potato, which is from our own person from Chennai. He started much before Swiggy and Zomato, a platform for the home delivery of food, but it never kicked off because he was ahead of his time. So sometimes being on the right time also helps. When technology can support you. So how much technology is there to support you? Now, that is also something that you have to see. Which is the group whom you want to target? Whether they will be willing to spend so much money. That is why I said that the marketing research is also very, very critical.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is that which is more crucial to the success of a startup, the idea or the execution?
Both. It is like the two eyes. You can't say that I have a very good idea, but on the execution level, if you fail, it's like, no, I studied well for my exam, but I did not write my exam well. Your studying for the exam is as equally important as you going and writing in the 3 hours the exam well, right? So idea is studying before the exam. Good, you studied very well, very necessary. But on the day of the exam, if you don't go and execute well, then what is the use of the study? So in the same way, you have a very nice idea. You believe in your idea, but as I told you, don't forget to test your idea. Get a feedback on your idea. So these are all the groundworks that one needs to do. Then comes the full scale. So even the execution, you have to stagger it. Minuscule testing phase, then the full-fledged market approach.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am. What are the basic issues that an entrepreneur encounter in starting the venture?
The first thing that we see is so much of people who will say and discourage you. It will start from friends to family to everybody around you. The first challenge will be to overcome that. Why can't you take a job and settle down? Easiest route. ஏன் தனியா பண்ணோம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்? So first thing is, family, friends. Your friend has gone and got a 20,000 rupees job. அவன் நல்லா மாசம் கரெக்டா சம்பாதிக்கிறான். ஏன் உனக்கு அப்படியே யோசிக்க கூடாதா? So these are things that's the first challenge that I see. But slowly, what is happening is that barrier is also slowly breaking in our country. 10 years back, if you see somebody who has said that I am doing a business, he or she would have found it difficult to get even a bride. But luckily that is changing. So that's why we say that there has to be a changing ecosystem. It is not just enough if we have the students thinking that I can do business, but the society also needs to support. So that will be one of the first challenges that they will meet.
Thank you, ma'am. And the last question, is there any ways to market a startup without any marketing budget?
A very good question indeed. Actually, you should all be thankful for the time that we are in today. We are in a digital era. Can you imagine that in a place like Chennai, how the advertisement was done in the yesteryears? If I tell you that people used to stand with hoardings close to their chest at the Madras Central Station for advertisement, and they were paid for that. That was the advertising campaign. That was how advertisement was done years back in the same Chennai city. That was the only way advertisement could have been done other than the newspaper. From there, today, we have come to personalized advertising. Google Analytics is there at your footstep to tell you how many people saw your advertisement, how many of them are willing to see your pay for your advertisement, how many of them brought similar products. Are they into some ethnographic group? Are they into some interest group? So much information is shared, and digital marketing with very minimalistic budget. The budget that you think is only available for you for marketing, today it's possible. So the answer is yes. A very shoestring budget that we call, you can go with digital marketing today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time, for answering all the questions that our students had. And your answers were very insightful, ma'am. And thank you for the excellent presentation that you delivered us today. Thank you, ma'am.
I hope there was some takeaway for the students, and it would have created some interest in them towards the entrepreneurship. Thank you for your patient listening. And thank you for the opportunity.
I would like to remind you all to fill the feedback form posted in the chat box without fail. Thank you. The essence of all beautiful art is gratitude. Now I call upon Shri Vidya, first year BBA, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of the Department of Business Administration, first of all your sincere thanks to our college management for giving opportunity to organize this webinar. I would like to thank our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Dr. N.R. Dhanapalan, our Secretary, Sir, Mr. N.R.D. Prem Kumar, our Joint Secretary, Sir, Dr. P.E.R. Premchand, for their constant support and guidance. It was very useful season for us. I thank our guest speaker, Dr. P.S. Manchula, for sharing more valuable information with us. We are really elegant with your great presentation and knowledge, sharing on entrepreneurial thought leadership, and I extend our profound thanks to our principal, ma'am, Dr. Kamala Balakrishnan, for her motivation, Vice Principal and IQAC coordination, various department, facilitate members, and students of Untitled Arts and Science College. I also thank the viewers, participants, professors, and students of Untitled Arts, students of other colleges. I thank our technical team of their constant support. Thank you once again.
Thanks.